This episode is sponsored by MJ's Progress Not Perfection Meeting Center Association. The name sounds familiar because it is where my podcast studio is held. We are in our meeting center where we do all these meetings for mental health and addiction. And since we can't get any of the local businesses to sponsor what we do here, I figure I'll sponsor the podcast. I can do this podcast anywhere. I can do this at home. I can do this in a closet somewhere. I can do this in a basement somewhere. It doesn't matter. All I need is somebody else to talk to about addiction and recovery, and I can do this podcast. What I can't do from anywhere is help people with their addiction and their mental health problems. You know, we've had a lot of amazing success stories that keep me so filled with gratitude that I do this. We're here all day long, running meetings all day long because we want to help as many people as we can. And even when we help one, that's the biggest victory in the world. And that's how I feel right now. So if you can help out what we do here, then that would be amazing. You know, we do have a Venmo, we have a Cash App, we have a PayPal, we have an address you can send a check to. And, you know, all the money that gets donated goes towards rent, goes towards keeping the lights on. If you are a local business, if you're a national business, whatever, and you want to be a part of what we're doing, you know, you can reach out to me and we can talk about how you can be a sponsor.
Yeah, that's your real name is Saryn?
Yes.
Okay, no, I wasn't sure because sometimes people have names on like Facebook like Serendipity, you know what I mean? That makes sense. Is your name like based on that?
No.
Okay, I don't know if you changed it or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
No, my mom, the most popular names of 1989 were Sarah and Karen. So she called me Saryn. And what's cool about it is I really love literature and English and writing and all that. And I was like, at first I hated it because I couldn't find my name on a t-shirt or a key ring or a coffee mug or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then I started playing with it and I was like, wait a minute, I'm serendipity. I'm serenity. I'm Serengeti. I'm serenade, you know, and I started playing with my name. I was like, hey, wait, this is kind of cool, you know, and I found a love for my name.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. That was like one of the first things that I was gonna ask you was like, I wonder if her name is like her name because I you know, people put fake names all the time on social media, and then you know, but then the other day when I like reached out to you to like do this, you had posted about being in a meeting, and you had mentioned yourself in third person, and you had said Saryn in third person telling the story, and I'm like, well, they wouldn't have called her that in an AA meeting based on her Facebook name if it wasn't her real name. You know, so like I'm doing all this in my head, like trying to like figure it out. And I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna wait till I ask her. So,
yes, that is my name.
welcome to the show, Saryn. I appreciate that. That's an awesome name. I can always appreciate a good name. I always said if I had kids, I wanted to name my son Sir. Like his first name be Sir, like his middle name be William. This way, like he would sound like royalty all the time, like his name would be like Sir William Dilks. Like put a 17th at the end or something like that. You can do whatever you want in a birth certificate. You can do whatever you want. I mean, I'm the fourth. Like my wife's like, you can't do that. I'm like, yes, you can. You can write whatever you want. It's fine. I'm like, I just want to just imagine like him being like in like first, second grade and the teacher being like, raise your hand, sir. Like yelling at him to raise his hand, but still calling him sir. That's like, awesome. Even I wouldn't be there for the payoff. Just I'd appreciate that, you know. Anyway, like I said, welcome to the show. So what is your clean date, Saryn?
My clean date is technically August 28th, 2021.
Okay.
Did
you have a relapse?
So I had a massive relapse right around COVID, and I lost almost 2 years, but I didn't really lose it. So I've been off of the meth since May 29th, 2020. My last drink, which was a one-time relapse, was June 13th, 2021. And then marijuana has been a problem for me, and I've been staying clean since August 28th of this year as well. It's been a progress, not a perfection for sure.
Yeah, hence the name here too. You know what I mean? And I take is the Is the cannabis? What state are you in?
I'm in Texas.
Okay, so it's
It's
not
not,
medical.
no,
It's not
no.
medical. I was gonna give you a little like little pass, not a pass, but you know what I mean. Like that's
Well,
why I love having medical states,
really,
because
I have like what I used was Delta 8, which was not near as intoxicating.
yeah.
And
Oh no, it definitely is not.
it's just not, it's not real weed. I call it diet weed.
Yeah, it's like mids. It's like mids back in the day, It's definitely not like getting like the good shit. It's like getting mids.
Hmm.
Um, I've used cannabis in my recovery the entire time.
Yeah.
Fun fact: I went to a
Let's
rehab
see.
called High Sobriety. Like my
Huh.
rehab is called High Sobriety. It's in Los Angeles, and it teaches people how to change a relationship with cannabis.
Yeah,
So I
I actually
haven't.
changed my relationship with cannabis. It went from me smoking it all the time to it would be here and there, very rarely, and it would be used in small amounts medicinally instead of me
Yep,
just getting pissed off my ass. It was just the small amount to chill
and
because
that's
I
the
have I'm
yeah.
relaxing. I'm an ex-meth head.
Yeah, and that's the thing, especially for meth. Like, I have a sponsee that uses cannabis, and his drug of choice was meth. And 15 years he was an addict. Up until 31, he got sober, and he just celebrated 3 months for the first time since he was a teenager. So yeah, he's using cannabis, but guess what? He hasn't had a drink since the 4th of July and hasn't used meth since 2 weeks before that.
Sweet.
So, yeah, he's using cannabis, but his life is not manageable anymore. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like everyone always says, admitting it's the first step. Bullshit. Finding out what's unmanageable in your life is the first step.
Yeah.
Finding out what makes your life unmanageable is the first step, in my opinion. You know, the whole, admitting it is the first step. People say that who never been through the steps.
Yeah.
People have actually been through the steps, know that the first step is about finding what's unmanageable in your life. So if things like cannabis are making my life unmanageable, I'm not going to worry about it. I drank in my recovery. And so my clean date and sober date are different, really. You know what I mean? Almost like yours. Like, I haven't done meth since this, and I haven't drank since. And for
Yeah.
me, like, I haven't, like, my sober and clean and sober date is 2/29 leap day of last year, 2020, that I
Nice.
haven't had a drink or, drug. But I still haven't had drugs since, April 2018.
That's awesome.
But
That was my
still,
original sober date was April 30th, 2018 off of methamphetamine.
oh shit,
And
mine
then
was April
a
25th.
month before my 2 years, COVID hit, and I was like, zombies are coming. Fuck it. And I was like, I can do it this one time. And it turned into a 2 month relapse. And hell and misery back guarantee. I know that much. And I haven't touched it since May 29th again. I was like, no, I'm good. I got enough recovery in me that going back to that old life for even a small amount of time, it was unattractive to me anymore. I got enough of this in me that I wanted to do this more. I wanted to be the better version of myself more than I wanted to be that person or feel that way. I can't feel that way anymore. I don't want to anymore. And I'm like, wow. But I do strict things every single day to make
Yep.
sure that I stay good. These are
Yeah.
my 3 books. And then I use a Bible app every single morning. And then at night, I read as well.
Yeah. And that's the thing is too, like, I feel like when you like your relapse, like for example, that is like whenever we relapse going into our drug of choice, it's like getting back into a relationship with an abusive ex
Yes.
where, you think of the good times and forget about the bad times, and then you get back into it and you're like, shit, what did I do this for? And then you want to get back into your relationship with the good person that was in your life, aka recovery.
Yeah.
So, you know how like if you get back into a relationship with somebody, it's not starting over, it's continuing where you left off.
Yeah.
It's the same thing for recovery and relapse. When you get into a relapse, you jump right back in where you left off. It's
Yeah.
not the first time doing the drug again. You know more people, you know more things. Same thing for recovery, though. When you get back into recovery, you can jump in with a full head of steam of, I know what I need to do. I know I need to take suggestions. I know I need to shut the fuck up and listen. I know that I can't do this on my own. And I know that I need help with it. These are all things that you need to tell yourself when you're sitting down now, because before it's like, no, no, I want to go back because zombies are coming. Everyone's dying. COVID's happening. I don't know what's going to happen. I might as well be high for it. And then you're like, oh, wait, COVID, it's bad, but maybe zombies aren't coming.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, the only zombie that showed up was me, all zombified from being dope brained.
Now, who were you living with during COVID when that happened, when you decided, like, I'm going to, chase some zombies?
So I was actually living with myself, and I had gone so gung ho into the program that I'd made the program my life. Well, at that time, everything stopped, and I stopped going to meetings. I stopped talking to my sponsor, and I started hanging out with some new people. And I moved to a totally different place than where I'm from. I changed everything, people, places, things, every tiny thing. I changed it. I did go really gung ho, like NA sober, is what they call that. NA clean, and then there's AA sober, is what they call that. And or at least here they do anyway. And so I started slipping back into the old patterns. I was finding the same people, just different faces as before. And
same personalities.
Yeah, well, you will find yourself no matter where you go. I've proven this from here all the way up to Pennsylvania.
That's where I'm at. We're in Pennsylvania.
Oh crap! I'm number 1 most wanted in Westmoreland County still.
Westmoreland?
Yeah.
Is that Pittsburgh? Okay, yeah, that's out west. Okay, I'm out east. I'm from outside of Philly, but a lot of my using days were around Lancaster area, and I was driving from there to South Jersey an hour and 2 hours each way to get pills, and then drive back again for like 3 years. And I mean, I'm from South Jersey. I lived in North Carolina in my addiction. Lived in Massachusetts, North Carolina. Where'd you live?
Matthews, which was just below Charlotte.
Okay, I was in Durham. That was in 2015. And then it was way too hot, and the bathroom controversy was going on down there at the time. I was like, I gotta get the fuck away from you Republicans. I can't be here anymore. So I had to get the fuck out of there. I was an alcoholic. You know what I mean? So like, I was a pillhead, but I was a cokehead, and I was at the bar 5-6 nights a week and doing a lot of coke. I did a lot of coke in North Carolina, more coke than I did anywhere else. And I would get into arguments. It was right after my fiance died, and I would get into these arguments with people. I was looking for fights. I was looking to unload. You know what I mean? I wasn't my best self at all in North Carolina. I was just looking to escape at all. Like, I moved, and then my fiance killed herself 3 days later. So like, I was not good. So I was like, I'm gonna drink hard. Yeah. And just try to fight everybody.
I did that for a while in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. I just drank my misery. It was so bad that the cops, one day I was walking down the road and I was headed to the bar. And I was sober at this point because I hadn't gone to the bar yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the cops pulled me over. They
You
were
weren't
like,
sober. You just weren't drunk yet.
yeah. I just wasn't drunk yet. I don't know about the sober. I was definitely not in sober mentality. But the cops pulled me over and they're like, Miss Saryn, you're sober. And I was like, who are you? And they're like, we take you home almost every single night. You walk up and down these streets crying and screaming and belligerent drunk. And I'm like, and you haven't put me in jail? They're like, no, we just take you home and drop you off. I'm like, oh, well, thank you. I might need your service again tonight. It was freaking terrible. They did end up
ever land in California?
Not yet. Not
No,
yet.
That's where I got sober. That's where I got sober, was California. But still, yeah, I'm in the middle of the mountains right now in Pennsylvania, up like in the middle of nowhere. We're only known, like, we have a college here, and meth is rampant in our area because of live in the rural area. I mean, you know how it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. House is exploding in the newspaper all the time and shit. You
Yeah.
know. So when did you find drugs? Let's rewind. Let's go back. When did you get into drugs or drinking?
I was exposed to them at a young age by my parents. My mom is an addict, alcoholic. My dad is considered the class of heavy drinker, but he's one of those who can drink his 6-pack a day and then go to bed. My mom is not. She's full blown. So when I was about 2 years old, she thought it was cute to watch a little kid get on the table and drink the beers and dance and be goofy. So really, I was exposed at a really young age. But when I started venturing on myself, I was about 10, 11 years old, and I was smoking weed. And the harder things came when I was 14, back when they had the curved pipe, not the Pilo, you know, the good dope days.
Yeah.
You know.
Are you an only child or the oldest?
So that is another crazy thing. I was pretty much raised as an only child because I was my father's only child for 14 years.
Okay.
My mom had 5 other daughters. I have sister cousins even, and she was very
What are
now.
sister? Wait, what are sister cousins?
So sister
Texas.
cousins.
You know.
Well, okay, so I got a Texas Kentucky family mix here, all right. But sister cousins are my mom married my dad's brother and made 3 girls.
Oh, okay. You're actually the second person who has that.
I'm sure there's many.
Yeah, I interviewed a guy in North Carolina. His dad passed away when he was 1, and when his dad passed away, his uncle started like taking care of his mom, and then his mom ended up marrying his uncle, and then now his brother is his cousin.
Yeah,
So
that's kind of
yeah.
biblical almost because they do that in the Bible a lot too. It's called a redeemer.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see. Oh, wait. So that's what Church of Redeemer means?
The redeemer, yeah. Although Christ is our ultimate redeemer, that's what would happen. Is somebody died, like say your wife's
And then
dead
somebody else steps in.
sister, or yeah.
And
or
back
vice
when and that makes sense because
versa.
back in those olden days, they were all like in fucking villages and shit, and all they had was like family of
Yeah.
cousins or whatever. So that makes sense. I mean, it's not like nowadays you can just hop on Tinder and find someone new. You know?
Never done that. I mean, that's a yeah. If I get back out there and start my old shit, I will. Oh God.
That's how I found my wife. We met on Tinder. Yeah. So you never know. And my brother, I forget what app it was on, but it was on an app that he found his wife. So I know that, it works. It works if you work it.
Right?
so so I was 11 years old when I started drinking. I started drinking Captain and Coke when I was 11. And when I was 12, somebody I knew died, and that's when I started drinking to self-harm, to like take away the bad feelings. When did you start using to take away bad feelings as like a crutch that you knew that like I'm feeling bad, I want to feel good?
That has been always. I've had a very rocky life. My dad's been a stable rock, okay? But my mom kind of threw me into a lot of things. I went through child molestation. I went through foster care. She kind of dropped us off in a foster home and drove away when I was like 12. So really the first time I started using to calm down was a cigarette, believe it or not. I was about 10 years old and I noticed mom was angry. And she was like, I just need a minute. And she went outside and she lit her cigarette and I watched her calm down. And I was like, huh. So I stole 2 of her cigarettes and I smoked them and I knew how to inhale. Yeah, it kind of gagged me a little bit, but I smoked those 2 cigarettes and I got a nicotine high. I was like, oh, I get it. So
Don't you wish you felt that way on every cigarette?
I don't try to smoke them anymore. I try to vape.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, that was the goal, why I continued to do it.
Yeah.
And then one day the nicotine high left and then it became necessary, just like drugs, because the meth, it started off, oh, I'm at a party, I'm going to try this the first time. I just drank like 5-year-old bong water and I ended up giggling in a closet for like 3 hours. I drank bong water and I was tweaking. So I was like, and I liked the way I felt. I remember being 2, drinking those beers, liking the way it made me feel because it changed the way I feel. I felt different. I felt more open to be myself. I thought I was definitely wrong because myself on who I am using is not the Saryn that's sitting here now, at all. Because I can do some pretty erratic things sober, but I can do them more erratic when I'm using. That's for darn sure. I can make a problem like this big go like, pew, and you're like, well, how did that happen? I stepped in. That's what happened.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This episode is sponsored by MJ's Progress Not Perfection Meeting Center Association. The name sounds familiar because it is where my podcast studio is held. We are in our meeting center where we do all these meetings for mental health and addiction. And since we can't get any of the local businesses to sponsor what we do here, I figure I'll sponsor the podcast. I can do this podcast anywhere. I can do this at home. I can do this in a closet somewhere. I can do this in a basement somewhere. It doesn't matter. All I need is somebody else to talk to about addiction and recovery, and I can do this podcast. What I can't do from anywhere is help people with their addiction and their mental health problems. We've had a lot of amazing success stories that keep me so filled with gratitude that I do this. We're here all day long, running meetings all day long because we want to help as many people as we can. And even when we help one, that's the biggest victory in the world. And that's how I feel right now. So if you can help out what we do here, then that would be amazing. We do have a Venmo, we have a Cash App, we have a PayPal, we have an address you can send a check to. And, all the money that gets donated goes towards rent, goes towards keeping the lights on. If you are a local business, if you're a national business, whatever, and you want to be a part of what we're doing, you can reach out to me and we can talk about how you can be a sponsor.
That makes a lot of sense. So, because that first high of even the cigarette high, you reminded me, like, I learned how to inhale with a black and mild.
Oh, God.
And I was I think I was 12, and I was, like, in the woods, you know what I mean? But, like, I learned how to inhale with the black and mild, and I remember that, like, holy shit, that head high from the black and mild, it was like that.
My body gets all warm and my muscles relax, and I'm like, oh.
The only time I can still get that head high from nicotine is if I, like, push myself not to smoke in the morning.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? If I, like, instead of having, like, my 8:15 cigarette, like, when I wake up and, like, get my day going, if I, like, push it to, like, 9:30, 10, if I can make it till 11,
Yeah.
like, then I'm definitely going to be like, loopy for, like, 3 minutes.
Or, like, after work when you haven't smoked all day, you're like,
that's what yeah.
Yeah.
Usually it's like, like, my throat's hurting, like, I don't even want to smoke this. But here I am, fucking addict. That's why I say I'm a recovering addict, not a recovered, because I still have a lot of shit that I need to work on because I'm not fucking perfect.
That's why I put down the weed because although I wasn't using it the way I did when I was full blown, I found that I liked my mental faculties a lot better when I wasn't dulling my senses, just even the tiniest bit. Because I literally had a one hitter, okay? I'd use that one hitter and that was it. And I'd only use what's in that one hitter and put it away. Well, I came to the point where, okay, let's try this on my own faculties with God and the power of the program. That's why I read 86 through 88 every single morning. It tells me what to do throughout the day. It literally tells me what to do.
Have you ever checked out Courage to Change?
No, the song?
No, the book. It's an Al-Anon daily book. And it's a book that they read in Al-Anon every day. It's like Al-Anon's Just for Today, or Al-Anon's Daily Meditations, or whatever. The cool thing is you'll learn even more, and especially now that you're back in recovery and you go to meetings again. Al-Anon, that book is important because we're constantly dealing with other addicts.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I didn't realize early on in recovery why Al-Anon would be important for addicts.
Yeah.
I thought it's for the families.
No, it's for
It,
Yeah.
it's for the addicts too, because we're the ones that are now sober dealing with these fucks. You
Yeah.
know,
But
like we were the fucks.
if you read an Al-Anon book to learn how to deal with yourself, that's going to help too. I've heard that before, actually. My AA sponsor, she's going to start Al-Anon very soon because she said, well, now I have this amount of time in the AA program. I need to go to Al-Anon. And I was like, why? And she goes, well, I deal with addicts and then I deal with myself. I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, the self part's important too. But
yeah,
it's also definitely because, especially when you start sponsoring a bunch of people, you
yeah,
don't want to like cause yourself to do a relapse over somebody else's relapse, or somebody else's like not paying attention or not following instructions or not following suggestions or whatever. When they're not paying attention, you start getting frustrated with yourself and them, and that's when Al-Anon can be important too. But yeah, finding yourself is always important. But yeah, I think it's called Courage to Change. My one friend, she reads it every morning, and she reads like you. And
yeah.
you know, she's an artist, and when she stays, you know, comes through here, she stays at my meeting center, like sleeps on the couch, and I'll come in the morning and she'll have like 5 books in front of her, and she'll be just going through and doing her daily journaling, daily reading. She doesn't like doing a step 10 at the end of the day. She likes doing her step 10 in the morning, you know, so like everyone's different on when they do their work, but the important thing is you do the work.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I do step 10 every night too. I actually call my boyfriend's in Pennsylvania right now. Funny story.
oh, okay.
Doing a job in Monaca, and so every night he calls me and we read when we retire at night, and then we both review our days, and that helps me. I do have sober accountability partners, not just for step 10, but what are my motives? One of my friends, Elizabeth, when I'm going to do something like today, I'm supposed to go to a Halloween party. And she goes, well, what are your motives? Are you wanting to go there and get high? And I'm like, no, I don't really want to go. I kind of want to sleep because I worked all week, but I'm trying to be a supportive friend as well, you know? And I wasn't going to go. And then they sent me money because they were like, hold on, we need you to come. It's been a month since we've seen you, and we want to do a Bible study. Okay, well, my motives can be for that. You know, checking my motives, making sure the things that I'm doing are not going to be harmful to myself, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Because we were spending a lot of time harming ourselves. I mean, at 10, 11, when did it become like a problem for you?
It became a problem
Like,
almost instantly because my dad was like, no, you can't do these things. And the more he told me no, that meant yes, I got to try more. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Because I'm a rebel without a clue.
yeah,
Always have.
yeah,
Yeah, it was an instant problem because I was trying to deal with all of these things that had happened in my life, and I didn't have a healthy outlet to do so. And I wasn't dealing with it, I was putting a band aid on it, and I was making me worse and worse and worse
yeah,
until I finally exploded at the age of 28, is when the shit just hit the fan. I'm sitting there pregnant in a dope house. I'm on probation and I've got 2 kids in CPS. And my back's against the wall, and it's April 30th, 2018, and I'm like, I don't know what else to do. I have nothing. I live in the woods. I'm at the dope house right now, and my dope dealer goes, give me your dope. And I did, and she threw it away, and she goes, you don't belong here. You have a heart. You're not like the rest of the ones that come through here looking for my dope, trying to steal my stuff. You don't lie to me. You don't steal from me. You don't even look for my shit. You do what I give you. And that's weird. So you don't belong here. So she took my dope, she threw it away, and then she took me to where my dad was picking me up, and she waited for me to get in that truck before she left. I was like, what the hell? So after that, I started walking around and I was like, I don't know what today is, but today is the first day of the rest of my life. I have no idea where I'm going or what I'm doing. All I know is I got nothing and I got to do something because I've had 4 children, 5 children total, but I only got to keep 1. So I've lost all these kids. I'm pregnant with another one, and I just cannot stand the misery anymore. I cannot fathom losing another child. I actually gave birth to my 4th child in jail. I held that baby for 2 days, and they put me in jail because I was messing around. And I was 8 months pregnant, and they were like, well, we're doing this for not for you, but for your kid. And they put me in jail, and I gave birth with shackles on. I was shackled to a bed. I held him for 2 days. They took him, and my aunt took him. She's raised my two boys that I lost since they were babies. And it wasn't just addiction, it was also a domestic violence. I was not only entrenched into the habit, but entrenched into the habit of the life and the people that went along with it. And at the very end, I decided to go to this rehab, and I spent 56 days there, and I hit the ground running. Went to 4 meetings a day till I got a job, and then I was still hitting 3. Did not care. I was like, I don't know what else to do, so I'm just going to do this thing. And I kept going until I'm here now in my own house that I can pay for with my job that I do the best at. And I'm the one, instead of the 5 in my position, I'm the one. Me, an addict, a hopeless dope fiend. I have things that I've never had before in my life, but mostly I have a sense of who I am and a peace about who I am instead of looking in the mirror going, I fucking hate your guts. Let's go kill myself a little bit by getting high. I'm like, hey, today's a new day. I get to start anew. There's just so many differences now.
Yeah. So, because you had said you were molested growing up. Was that like from a mom's boyfriend?
My uncle.
Your uncle.
Yeah, he liked little blonde girls, and I was a little blonde girl.
And then you were in a relationship also in your 20s. Were you married?
I was not married.
But you guys had kids.
We had 3 children, yes.
You had 3, and he was violent.
He was very violent.
But methy violent, or drinking violent, or just violent?
All of it. So when he was meth, it was way worse. When he was drinking, it wasn't as bad as when he had been up for several days. And then when he was sober, he still had tendencies.
Yeah, because the meth would be delirium violence, and then, drinking would be the like alcohol-induced violence where it's pure anger. Yeah. And then sober anger is confused anger.
Yeah.
Because you don't know where it's coming from at that point. So I hate to say, like, I'm sorry, but like,
I'm glad it happened because it broke my ego.
Yeah.
Like, I read this one. This one's probably one of the most important tools in my arsenal. It's Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth. It's recognizing the ego and how it crops up in all of its forms and how to deal with it. Amazing, because that's one of our biggest problems is drugs and alcohol are but a symptom of our disease. Okay, the real problem right here.
They were the solution to our problems.
Yeah, they was a solution that wasn't a really good solution. If anything, it amplified our problems like 1,000-fold.
Well, we're addicts. We thought we knew all of our answers. You can't tell us the answers. We know the answers. We are the smartest person we know. What the fuck are you talking about?
Okay.
Before you got sober, you know that you were the smartest person you knew.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Like when we're in addiction, we are the smartest person we know. We are the best therapist we know. We're the best pharmacist we know. We're the best doctor we know. We are the best thief we know. Our ego is a fucking worst. But yet, ironically, we know that we're pieces of shit. We know that we don't want to die. We know that we don't want to live this way. So it's just so ironic that we are both sides of the spectrum when in active addiction. 1 minute, your ego is through the roof. And the next minute, your ego is completely drowning. And the difference is withdrawals. Let's be honest. Your ego is through the roof when you're high. When you're not high, your ego is not high.
Yeah, I'm 100 feet tall and bulletproof when I'm on some dope, man.
Yeah, but fucking keeled over, in the fetal position in bed, withdrawing, your ego isn't that big.
No, it's not. But the things that happened in my life broke my ego into such a submission that I finally became willing to allow other things in to fill that negative void. I started really being able to look at myself, getting a sponsor, really working the steps. And it's taken I've done AA. I don't know how many times I've done the AA steps, but it's taken all of those times, and I can look through and see the progression of my own self each time. I put more detail, more thought. There's more. In the book, it says more will be revealed. And it is definitely way more revealed now that I have
Yeah.
gone through, sifted through the ego and come out of the delusion of self.
Yeah,
Yeah.
once you try to stop being the director and the actor and the writer and the producer and the everything, and just let shit happen and just trust that things will happen. Did you
Yeah.
meet your boyfriend in recovery?
I did.
How
I met
long in the
him.
recovery did you meet him?
So I actually met him in 2017 when I was just trying to do meetings and stuff like that. And I was actually with the father of my last 3 children. But we were only friends. And then he went to jail, and I waited for him during that year. He was gone. I waited for him because I was going to go back to him. No, I didn't. But I had gotten enough recovery in me to where I began to love myself and was like, I don't deserve that. So I broke up with him when he got out of jail. I was like, I don't want to do this. And I had become friends with my boyfriend, who is Eric. And we got so close in working these steps and all of that together that we ended up dating. And it's been off and on for us because we've both had to grow and mature. Like, we were together for like 10 months, and then we broke up, and then we got back together, and then we broke up completely. And he went on to date a girl who is a total psycho, and I ended up getting married to a guy. It just didn't work out. And then when both of those things fell, we found each other again, and we were on different footing. We realized what we didn't want to deal with in other people, and what we had actually had together was way stronger. And so we do recovery things. We meditate. We go to conventions. Like, we get in our book every morning. We send each other texts out of these books every morning. We read a few pages and we find the most meaningful line and we send it to each other.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like,
It's a lot better when you can do this with your partner. You know what I mean? Like, I know it firsthand. That's why I asked, because my wife and I, we have this meeting center together where we run meetings here every day. And she has MS, so there's some days that she can't make it out of the house to come to meetings.
Yeah.
And so I run some of the more meetings, and then we do some of them virtually, so she can attend too from home sometimes.
That's
But and then both of our sober dates are 2/29 together.
nice.
So we both have the same sober date. So, and it's a very unique date, as it's leap day is.
Yeah.
You don't really hear of people with leap day as a sober date. So, it's definitely a lot better when you have a partner in this and not just a sponsor, because, when you have a exactly how it was when you relapsed, I'm sure. Like, when you stop reaching out to your sponsor, you start relapsing before you relapse.
Yeah, you do.
You relapse in your head way before you actually put a pipe or put a pill or put a whatever in your system.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're with your partner, as in your fiance, boyfriend, wife, girlfriend, whatever you want to call them, when you're with your partner, they can call you on your shit faster. They can see you relapse and be like, hey, what are you doing with your head?
Yeah, and we do that. Like, are you okay right now? Because he had gotten COVID earlier this year, and he was really sick, and he was starting to get sick in the head too. And I was like, hon, I think you need a meeting. You know what I mean? And just little things like that, like, we can see each other. And it's really beneficial to have a partner in the program, because I don't want to use when I'm with him. And he doesn't want to use when he's with me either, because we both want to see each other continuously do good, that we don't want to do those things and jeopardize the other person either.
Because that's what it is. Because we are living stigmas, Saryn. Whether it's in addiction or in sobriety, we are living stigmas, because it is a stigma to be in a relationship with somebody you are in recovery with, because of what you just said. Of, it's great to have the support when it's good, but what happens when it's bad?
Oh,
And then one of you decides, I can't do this anymore. And then the other one says, well, if you're out, I'm out.
Yeah.
But
and he had that experience with the girl that he broke up with when we broke up, and he had already had that experience. He'd already had it.
You have to make sure that you catch that person before it happens. because if you were to not catch them, but like if they were to even to be honest, be like, hey, sorry, but like, I relapsed yesterday. Now you have to make the decision. Do I relapse with him because he relapsed? You know what I mean? Or do I try to get him back on the right track? And it'll all depend on what your mental state and how you take it.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like if my wife ever said to me, I'm sorry, but I drank last night, I then have to decide, do I now drink or do I make sure that she doesn't drink again?
Yeah.
So that's why it's like a stigma. You have to be extremely self-aware.
Oh yeah.
And
My
not,
New Year's.
yeah.
My whole resolution this year, which is so funny because I'm an addict, I'm undisciplined, and we come into a discipline. We let God discipline us in the simple way laid out in this program. You know what I mean? So one of those things that I started this year was awareness, becoming more aware. And I've actually stuck with it. I was like, what? I'm sticking to New Year's resolutions? What is that? Because, everybody says, oh, I'm going to quit doing this, quit doing that. Well, this year I wasn't going to quit anything. I was going to add something. Awareness.
Yeah.
And it's come into play so many times. And it's such a really broad topic, actually, because awareness stems so much deeper than self.
This episode is sponsored by MJ's Progress Not Perfection Meeting Center Association. The name sounds familiar because it is where my podcast studio is held. We are in our meeting center where we do all these meetings for mental health and addiction. And since we can't get any of the local businesses to sponsor what we do here, I figure I'll sponsor the podcast. I can do this podcast anywhere. I can do this at home. I can do this in a closet somewhere. I can do this in a basement somewhere. It doesn't matter. All I need is somebody else to talk to about addiction and recovery, and I can do this podcast. What I can't do from anywhere is help people with their addiction and their mental health problems. We've had a lot of amazing success stories that keep me so filled with gratitude that I do this. We're here all day long, running meetings all day long because we want to help as many people as we can. And even when we help one, that's the biggest victory in the world. And that's how I feel right now. So if you can help out what we do here, then that would be amazing. We do have a Venmo, we have a Cash App, we have a PayPal, we have an address you can send a check to. And, all the money that gets donated goes towards rent, goes towards keeping the lights on. If you are a local business, if you're a national business, whatever, and you want to be a part of what we're doing, you can reach out to me and we can talk about how you can be a...
Did you really, how should I put this? When you're getting into drugs in teenage years, right? But when is it become in your 20s? Was it when you met your ex-husband that it became a full-blown every day this is my life revolved around it?
Yeah, when I was about 25, I left the state of Pennsylvania. I had gotten in some trouble and I was like, I should not even be in trouble right now. I got really drunk. Nothing bad really happened. And they gave me charges for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon because I was so drunk that we thought we were ghosts. And we have this little matching scar, me and the girl, on my arm. I don't know if you can see that, but we had the same scar. We were so dead.
You can send me a picture.
Yeah, we thought we were so dead. Because I was already full blown drinking at this point, every day.
So alcohol is your big problem then?
Oh yeah, it is a huge problem. And I got into some trouble, and I said, no, I'm not doing this. So I left. I left the state of Pennsylvania, and I came to the state of Texas because I didn't feel like I should be in trouble. I was like, no, this is bullshit. I didn't assault anybody. I'm gone, Are
you born and raised Pennsylvania?
No, I was born and raised in Texas mostly.
Okay.
I mean, I've lived in Kentucky, Nebraska, Missouri, Iowa, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Florida. I've lived all over from the Midwest over, and I've gone and traveled and done all of those things. I just had made
your ex?
No, that was by myself because I was kind of a wandering little. I was a hitchhiker. I was running from myself for a very long time. Unfortunately, you can't run from yourself. No matter where you go, you show up. And so I could run all these places and be like, I have different faces, different friends. No, they were still the same people, just in a different body. I'm still attracting the same things no matter where I went. So I was very drunk for a long time, and I came back to Texas, and I ended up um, getting back in contact with her dad because I've known him for, I don't know, I met him when I was a younger kid, and then we rekindled the friendship in my 20s, and I didn't date him until I was almost 26. So when I got with him, he did meth all the time. All the time. And I was like, well, fuck it, I'm going to do it all the time too. And we went on a crime spree for years after that. And I'd be barefoot, pregnant, methed out in the woods, stealing shit. It was bad.
Stealing from the woods?
Generators, campers, four-wheelers. Leave a tool out, I'm going to get it. It was construction. They were building this new subdivision. And we made it hard for them to build. Let's just say that much. Gotcha. And we'd go through, we'd tear shit up, burn shit down, and steal it all. And then we'd go to the dope house and trade it. So it really became an obsession of a lifestyle. I got into the crime, I got into the drugs, and we were in it all the time. That was how I was able to spend time with him. Otherwise, he didn't want to be around me. You know, I didn't realize he really didn't love me until I got sober and realized how he was treating me and was like, wait a minute, if you love somebody, you don't do those things, you know? And I really did love him. I loved him very much. And that's how
you had 3 kids with him.
Yeah.
When did you have 3 kids with him? How old were you?
I gave birth to our first child when I was 26, our second child when I was 27, and our third child when I was 28.
Okay, so you were legitimately pregnant almost the entire time.
Uh-huh.
Like, you would have a baby and then get pregnant again.
Yep.
And those were your last 3 out of the 5 that you have.
Yes.
And the first two you have, your aunt has.
No, the first 2 children I have are still in the state of Pennsylvania. They're with their dad and their grandmother. That's when my disease hadn't quite taken hold yet. I'm a loudmouth Southerner, and I went up there to this Yankee lady's house, for lack of a better term, and she couldn't stand the F word, the fart word. You could say fuck all day, but if you said fart, she'd freak out. That's so unladylike. So we had a big cultural difference as well. And I'm like, fuck you. And, you know, she's like, no. And so we got in a huge fight, and I ended up leaving there. But I stayed around Pennsylvania for a while trying to co-parent with them and my children until I got in that trouble. And then I was like, I got to go. And when I left, they filed abandonment charges on me, and I haven't seen my children in almost 7 years. I still reach out to their grandma. They won't let me talk to them until they are of age so that they are not disrupted. And I have to honor that, and I have to respect that, even if I don't want to. But they're the ones who are taking care of my children, not me. I'm the one who in fear. Fear is a deep and evil, corroding thread that has led me to do a lot of retarded things. Drugs, alcohol, actions, being on the run, all of those things.
I was going to say, literally, you know, fear, I love acronyms, and fear, you know, you especially, you get it as much as I do. We lived in a bunch of different we both have lived in more states than we have fingers for on a fucking hand, you know? And so, but fear to me was fuck everything and run.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
You know, that was fear. And now it's face everything and recover.
Or appearing real. I lived in that delusion for so long that it was fuck everything and run, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, but false. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. It was North Carolina, it was Massachusetts, back and forth a bunch of times. You know what I mean? Anywhere I could go that I thought, oh, I'll be safe here. And then, like you said, I show up with myself. And then I realize that, I'm the problem. It's not everybody else. It's me.
Yes.
It's me. So, okay, now that I have the kids, and now your 3 kids, they're with your aunt?
She adopted the 2 boys, because I had 2 boys with the last guy. And then my little girl, she's in her room over there, and she's asleep in her little big girl bed, and she has an Elsa room. And so I lost those 2 boys. I'm on probation, but something happened April 30th, 2018. There was a major turning point in my life because I was so broken down from all of the things. I'd spent years getting my nose has been broken 6 times. I don't know if you can see, but it just keeps going back into place. I've never had any type of surgery on it or anything like that. I'd had so many broken bones. I'd had so much broken ego, so much pride. I had no self-worth, nothing at all. I was a broken shell of a person, April 30th, 2018. And when I stepped out into the unknown, which was recovery, I didn't know if I was going to fall flat on my ass or get caught. And God caught me. He caught me. And I started doing these things, and I started realizing that I could do something. And the first thing that I finished was rehab. And I was like, hold on, I completed something. Oh my gosh, I completed something. Because I hadn't completed anything in years. I'd start a project and quit, and I'd have many of those. That's called being a tweaker. You know what I mean? So I started finishing things, and a big motivation was I was pregnant with baby number 5. And I just couldn't lose any more children. I knew that if I lost any more children, I was not going to come back from it. I was not. After having that baby in jail, I was very angry in jail, and I'm surprised they let me out without any more charges, because I beat the brakes off of a few bitches. Don't touch my food. I got you. Like, it was not good. I sent a few to the hospital. I was very angry. It just wasn't pretty. So I was at that point of the bottom, very bottom. There was nowhere to go. I didn't have shit. I had a bunch of problems, no solution, and no way out. So I stepped out into this unknown with this baby in my belly, and I was like, okay, I'm going to sit here. And I finished the rehab, and then I went to a shelter, and I got a job, and then I got a roommate, and I bought a car, and I was really doing this thing, I was like, hey, this is different. I had to find new ways to have fun, because my fun was get high and go do something. But my fun was always waiting for the dope man so I could go have fun. And all of that changed. And then I was like, okay, hold on. I can just get up and go have fun now. But that I had to learn. I had to learn all sorts of new things. It didn't just happen. And I'm really grateful for that, because that little girl in there, she saved my life, She's almost 3 years old. I've never raised a child by myself this long. I've always lost them at the gate, just lost them, because I wasn't fit to be a parent before anyway. I was not okay.
Yeah.
What I was doing was so self-destructive, and anyone and everyone around me was catching fire with me. Like, I never wanted to get high alone, so I'd whip out lines huge, like, you're about to do this, fat motherfucker, with me in one swoop. And if they couldn't finish it, I took it back. You know what I mean? They're like, how do you do that shit? I'm like, 1 nostril, 2 nostril, and it'd be like really long and really fat. And they're like, get you crazy. When the dope heads are telling you you're doing too much, there's a problem,
Yeah.
They're like, you're scaring me. I'm like, cool, let's do some more. Like, I was balls to the wall. Texas thing is go big or go home. Oh yeah, you got to check this book out, A New Earth, Eckhart Tolle. Oh my gosh, there's my kid, she's awake. But when you really realize how your ego shows up and where it shows up, and the different manifestations of it all, and you become aware of it, then the ego starts to die.
Yeah.
Because the ego can't thrive in awareness.
Well, thank you so much, Saryn, for taking the time to sit down. I know you got, be on mama duty now, but I appreciate you sitting down and talking about your story and everything like that. Like, your progress is amazing where you're at right now. Like, keep doing what you're doing. I'll let you know when this gets posted. It'll be Tuesday. So if you could just share the link when it gets posted on your page so your friends can see it and watch your story, because usually my people will go watch it, my regular listeners, but I want your friends and family to see oh my God, look at her. She's killing it. Listen to how she's talking now. You know what I mean? So I'll shoot you over the link when it's all ready and everything like that. So, but I'll let you go pull mama duty right now. And awesome. Thank you so much, and keep doing what you're doing. Obviously, it's working.
Yes, thank you.
See you later.
See ya. You have a great day.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.